this video is important. It's the differences, and so we're going to get right to it. It's the 5 Old Testament, New Testament differences. The first one is romance, sex, and family, and fertility. So this one's very obvious if you like have any honesty. You know, if you have an honest reading of the Old Testament versus the honest reading of the New Testament, you get 2 prescriptively contradictory views, like 2 things that are prescribed to humans that are at odds, right? So God in Genesis prescribes being fruitful and multiplying. So it's literally a prescription. It's literally a command, not just a prescription. It's a command to be fertile. That's literally the command. Meanwhile, and so this means romance, this means sex, this means family, this means household. This is a domestic, like there's a role for domesticity, right? Versus in the Gospels, you know, for Jesus, he has a specific saying, he who can't accept it should accept it. He says this saying immediately after referring to eunuchs who castrate themselves for the kingdom of heaven. So literally this is a prescription to cut off your balls. If you are able to accept it, it would be good for you to cut off your balls. And furthermore, he tells people to leave their brothers, mothers, wives, sisters, you know, fathers, or whatever, what have you. I mean, he literally openly basically describes himself and his teachings as home wrecking. You know, he who is not willing to leave their family for me is not worthy of me. You know that, right? And look, is it true that, like, if God tells you to leave your family, you should leave your family? Yes. Is it true that is it true that some people like are so caught in their vices of lust that like cutting off their balls hypothetically would be a good idea? Yeah. But here's the thing, like, he who can't accept it should accept it. That's not symbolic. That's literally a statement, a flat out command. You know, he's not exaggerating. He's not symbolizing. He's not like this. He is commanding Christians. He's saying, hey, people who follow Jesus, he who can't accept it should accept it. Okay? And he's saying the whole thing of, you know, I've come not to bring peace but a sword, mothers, brothers, sisters, you know, blah, 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 fathers. All of that is, like, not a good God. You know, that's honestly, like, not a good role model. Like, that's not a good ideal. You know, that's not ideal. That should not be there should not be, I should not be asking myself, like, Christians should not have to ask themselves whether or not they're leaving enough things behind for their God. They should be able to assume normal, natural, and true values of, like, what is good in this life and what is evil in this life, and not have to second guess their salvation based on, like, whether or not they are engaging in or pursuing these things. So that's point 1. It's very obvious. And then beyond that, you know, the behaviors of the people in these different testaments also exhibits, you know, these 2 contradictory views. You look at the patriarchs, many of them had harems. I mean, you've got at least David, Solomon, Abraham, Jacob, and, you know, the harems were just, like, polygamy was not even banned in the Old Testament law. The only thing that was banned was marrying, like, 2 sisters or marrying, like, a mother and her daughter or something like that. But, you know, forcing girls from conquered nations into, like, you know, not even marriages, into, like, servanthood, like slavery and rape, essentially, like, that was not banned in the Torah. You know, that was not banned. So, anyway, I digress. Meanwhile, 1 Corinthians 7, 8 through 35 talks about how it's better not to marry. It literally says, hey, it's better not to marry because your household life will be a distraction between you and God. And look, this to me seems bonkers. If anything, a good family, a well-ordered family life and a good family, the love that you find within your family brings you closer to God, not farther away. And families are a gift from God. I don't think God would put this dichotomy between himself and family. That's just not true.